Hopefully you'll be able to see my euro-dollar chart. Just let me know that you are able to see it so I don't continue without you being able to see it. You should be able to see the words euro-dollar 1 hour chart. Yep, excellent. So what we're going to do now is, how could we get up to these levels? How could we see the currency pair rise up to these levels? If the currency pair goes upwards, is there any way that we could actually get ourselves into and involved in a buy trade up to these levels? These are going to be my baselines because they're going to be my profit target lines. So I'm going to color them green because I color my profit target lines green and my stop loss lines red all the time. There aren't any diagonal levels of resistance that I can see on this chart, so I might go out to a further time frame and see if there's anything that I can draw. I might draw something across these highs right here. Go down to the 4-hour chart now. And actually, we do get some resistance. So I might get rid of these levels here that I just drew and stick with a diagonal dynamic level of resistance. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is the 4-hour chart. I'm going to go back to the daily really quickly. I drew a trend line across the tops on the daily chart. On the 4-hour chart, you can see that this trend line terminates at about 42.72. This is the 4-hour chart. Now we're going to go down to the 1-hour chart. And on the 1-hour chart, we can see that that level appears right here, 42.75. And now I want to go down even to a shorter time frame. Ooh, I got to color this line green. Sorry. Let's color this green and make it our baseline. That means that if the currency pair rises, we might see the currency pair rise up to and hit this green baseline. And I'm going to go to the 15-minute chart, something shorter term. And I'm going to draw a trend line across the 15-minute chart. And now what I've got is, everyone, I've got a baseline here and an entry line here. Where are my other indicators? What about the MACD? What about the stochastic? What about the RSI? What about the CCI? What about the NBC? What about the CBS? What about the BBC? I'm not going to look at any of those other types of indicators. I'm simply going to stick with support and resistance and price action. If price breaks through and closes above my entry line, that's a buy trade for me, and I want to ride it all the way to the baseline, the profit target, the previous area of resistance. My stop loss is going to be below the lows that the currency pair made before it broke above this line in the first place. Once I have all of these lines set up on my chart, I'm able to plan out my risk to reward and see if it's really worth my time and effort to be in the trade. Are there any questions about that? There's a question, do I use Elliott Wave? I'm going to now not share the charts. The charts are off, so don't worry. So there's no chart being shown right now, and I'm purposefully doing that so I can see your questions while I talk. I do not use Elliott Wave. It doesn't mean that I think that Elliott Wave is bad. It means it just doesn't work for me. Is the Fibble rule going to affect your trading? No. Fibonacci does not affect my trading with this system. Ed says, do I use a 10-period exponential moving average for exit? That would be reasonable, but I do not do that. And Jesper, welcome Jesper, do you wait for a pullback or enter straight when it breaks? I enter straight when it breaks, but if I miss the break, Jesper, excellent question, then I'm willing to wait for a pullback. Elena, do I use pivot points? Yes, I teach 2-day seminars and do private training that talk about pivot points, and that's the method that I use to take mathematically calculated, statistically objective profit targets in my trading. And I do use pivot points, yes. I am mainly and primarily a support and resistance trader first, but I do also use pivot points. I do not use Bollinger Bands at all. Fat says, I meant the NFA rule first in going to affect your trading. No, it's not going to affect my trading at all. I'm trading offshore with FXCM UK, and it's not going to affect my trading. No, it's not. I'm not going to. I would not be able to trade with that first in, first out rule. I would not, unless some broker explains to me how they're going to be able to work around that rule. I will not be able to trade in the States. And I don't know why the NFA did that. And I don't know how that helps traders. I'm still trying to contact somebody at the NSA that can help me understand that. Do Bollinger Bands are confusing? Is that why you don't use them? No, I don't think Bollinger Bands are confusing. I simply just don't like them. Do I trade using a USD account? Yes. US dollar denominated account. Phantom FX. So the support and resistance and price action are the only things you use when placing a trade. Using this method, yes, which is a primary method of trading that I have, yes. I also have one other method that I use of trading, and I use pivot points as well to add to that. Could we have a look at the Australian dollar Japanese yen? Yes, AB, I would be happy to do that. I don't know anything about the Ichimoku cloud. If you like it, please feel like you can trade it. We're going to look at the Australian dollar Japanese yen. Daily chart. Here's a trend line on the daily chart. This, for me, could be a baseline. I'm actually going to change this baseline, AB, and I think I'm going to move it a little bit closer. And I'm going to slope it downwards a bit. And I'm going to put the trend baseline. This is going to be my profit target line. If the currency pair falls, I want to use this line as a profit target. No chart. Thank you for reminding me. You should be able to see the Australian dollar Japanese yen. You should be able to see that now. Thank you for notifying me. Appreciate that. And now, AB, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move down to a shorter time frame chart. And I'm going to see if I can draw a, this is now going down to the 1 hour chart. Let's see if I can draw a trend line to help me plan out and take a sell trade down to that trend line. And I think I've got one right there. I like that trend line. Yeah, I like that a lot. That gives me an Australian dollar, Japanese yen baseline from the daily chart and an entry line, the blue line from the 1 hour chart. Sell below that blue line. Target the green baseline. Yes, I can review the pound dollar chart next. So that's the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Let's go to the pound dollar. There's a ton of these trades setting up, folks. Okay, let's do something short term in the pound dollar, super short term. This is the 1 hour pound dollar chart. I'm going to draw a baseline here. You should be able to see British pound, US dollar. Now let's go down to a very short term chart and draw an entry line on a very short term chart. There we go. This means that this is the 5-minute British pound US dollar. A close below the trend line, the blue trend line, could lead to a move all the way down to the green baseline. Stop loss could go right above the highs at 6,400, so you could have a pretty tight stop loss, or reasonably tight. Excuse me, whenever I talk a lot, I yawn. I'm sorry. It doesn't mean I'm bored. I'm very happy to be here. It means that we might have a problem with our risk to reward ratios, so we'll want to be careful about that trade. That's the British pound US dollar. I was in a buy trade, says AB. On the daily trend line, but got spiked out. No entry. Is that a head and shoulders? I guess it's a head and shoulders. I don't really know. Let's look now at the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. We're going to go out to the long term. We're going to go to the daily chart. And now we're going to go to the weekly chart and see if we can see anything even further out. You can see that on the weekly chart. The New Zealand dollar is breaking above a trend line on the weekly chart. Super long term here. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, weekly. We could see this currency pair rise up now that it's closed above this weekly trend line. We could see this currency pair rise up another 1,200 points, all the way up to 77.60, 77.50, or we could just see it go to 7,000. What happens, though, however, if the currency pair falls? Where might we go? Look at the daily chart. If it does fall, I think we could see it test or make it back down to this trend line. I'm going to color it green and call it a baseline. And now we're going to go down to the 15-minute chart. And I'm going to draw a trend line on the 15-minute or the 30-minute chart. Yep, 30-minute will do. And draw a trend line across the lows. And here we go. See if we can show everything start to finish. Okay, we're trying to get down to the green baseline that we drew on the daily chart. How do we get down to that green baseline? Maybe a short-term trend line on the 15-minute chart. So a close below this 15-minute chart trend line could lead to a move all the way down to this green baseline that we're looking at with a stop loss above the highs. This risk to reward ratio is incredibly good. That could be a really, really nice trade. So there you go. Start to finish, close below a blue entry line on the 15-minute chart could lead us to the baseline that we drew on the daily chart. There you have it. Let's look next at the US dollar Japanese yen. I want to look at something very short term on the US dollar Japanese yen. Go 15-minute. Let's see, are there levels of support and resistance on this time frame chart that we might pay attention to? What happens if the currency pair closes above this trend line right here on the 15-minute chart? This is the US dollar Japanese yen. What happens if it rises above that? I think we could retest the tops. We could retest the tops up here of 94.38. See what candles. I don't know if it's a short at 6,500 on the pound dollar. You can just follow sort of what I said, and what I just said about the pound dollar is exactly what I would be willing to do. Let's go back and review that very quickly for you. You can get a clear opinion. 6,500 has nothing to do with what I just said. So no, I'm looking for a sell below 63.50 or that blue entry line. Don't have any other opinion other than that, what I've said right there. Let's look at one more kind of semi-exotic currency pair. How about, no, let's not look at exotic. Let's look at the Canadian dollar, US dollar. Let's look at the 60-minute chart. On the 60-minute chart, might see the currency pair rise up and retest this green baseline. How do we get to that level? Let's go down from the 30-minute chart to the 5-minute chart. We could possibly break above this pretty steep blue entry line. So we've got a blue entry line on the 5-minute chart that could lead to a buy trade that gets up to the green baseline from the 30-minute chart. Yes, 30-minute. Yep. Okay, everybody. It's 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Today is a shortened and abbreviated webinar for support and resistance. We've looked at the dollar Canadian. We've looked at the US dollar Japanese yen, the New Zealand dollar US dollar, the British pound US dollar. We've looked at, I think, also I think I said it first, the euro dollar, and we looked at the Australian dollar Japanese yen. This webinar has been recorded, so you'll actually be able to watch it and view it later and review all of these trades that we've just looked at. My name is Rob Booker. I appreciate the time that we've spent together today. Have the most fantastic and marvelous day ever of all time. Happy to stay around for just a moment here and answer any questions that you have. Let me know if you have any last questions. I'll stay here for just a couple more minutes. Hope that that is okay with you. Going to turn off sharing of the charts. Maud, I wish I could stay longer. And I had a good time today. Be back next week as usual. When will I have the webinar about the new FIFO regulation? We are going to have that webinar probably on Monday of next week. Got a lot done today. Looked at a lot of different currency pairs, everybody. Thanks for being here, everyone. Is the pound yen good right now or crazy? It's pretty good. It's pretty good right now. We have recorded today's session. Remember, everybody, it will be available soon at fxstreet.com/live/transcript. Go to bed, please. I need to, but I have to work. Do you have a bias for selling the Japanese pairs? I have no bias right now on the pairs, AB, and you know I would tell you if I did. I have no bias right now. I'm a little bit confused, maybe slightly to the sell side, AB. Please advise how to contact you by email. Diana, the best way to contact me by email is rob@robbooker.com. That's the best email address. There's multiple people that respond to that. That email box is cleared every day. and you will hear back from us on the same day you email us. You send us a phone number. Sometimes we'll call you back as well. Depends on what your question is about. What time frame do you enter the trade? On the shorter time frame of the two that I've planned to trade on. So if I've planned a baseline on the daily and an entry line on the 1 hour, I trade from the 1 hour. Yep. See how much you can get through if you don't sing. That is absolutely true. Diana, anything in particular you wanted to contact us about? Just let us know. Happy to hear from you. You're always welcome to contact us. I used to be really bad at getting back to people by email, but now we have 4 people that respond to email. We get tons and tons of messages, but we are happy to hear from you, and we are capable of getting back in touch with you right away now. So finally able to do that. Do I have a website? Yep, robbooker.com. And we just built the first social network for currency traders in the world. And it's only available to people who came to the live training, though, and that's at piptopia.com. But that's a website. It's a private website for the people who've gone through the live training that we do. Network, wow, yeah. And Calvin, I think, has been there. So it's pretty awesome. Actually, I'll just show it to you right now if you want to see it. Yeah, we do live training. I'll share it with you guys right now. Hold on. Let's see here. So you should see the screen right here. Welcome to Piptopia. And this is the social network where we have members from all around the world. These are all people who have been through live training. These are all people who have been through the live seminars that we've done. We all plan trades together, and we all, right now we're looking at a Euro-Canadian dollar trade. Everybody has a blog, there's a forum, blah, 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 and so forth. And we just chat with each other online. Let's see, I don't think anybody's online right now. But down here at the bottom, we chat with each other. You can see who's online. Dave's online. And so that's what we do. Thank you, everybody. Oh, no screen. So it didn't come up. I thought that might come up. It didn't, I guess. I don't know if that came on or not. Anyway, have a wonderful day, everybody. Oh, great, it did. Okay, so you saw it. Have a wonderful day, you all. It was nice to spend some time with you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate your time. Good day. Thanks. Ciao, Blackbird. Bye, Maud. Love you, Maud. Have a nice day.